It's been 278 days since we've been on an airplane, and we've got the travel itch bad. So we're flying a mile above sea level for a social distance adventure in the mountains. Keep on watching if you want to see the cities and excursions we safely navigated during the pandemic. Our first stop was 10 miles west of Denver, the Red Rocks. The construction was finalized in 1941 for this massive amphitheater that can seat over 9,500 people to enjoy a show. Lookout Mountain near Golden, Colorado is next on our to-do list for views overlooking Windy Saddle. We started at Beaver Brook Trail and explored a portion of this hike that totals 13.4 miles in length. We crossed over 2 boulder fields on the way and stopped to throw some snowballs. Face coverings are required at the trailhead, when passing others, and when 6 feet of distance cannot be maintained. We made sure to follow these requirements to ensure we returned home safely and healthy. After our hike, we hopped in the car and drove 27 miles to Georgetown, which has a population of just over 1,000 people. We had some time to kill before our next activity, so we grabbed lunch at a local cafe, checked out a nearby lake, and shopped at the visitor center, where masks were also required. Riding the Georgetown Loop Railroad was our last venture for the day. Tickets were $27, and there were standard procedures in place to safely continue business during the pandemic. The Devil's Gate High Bridge was built in 1884 and was originally used to access the mines. It was abandoned roughly 54 years later and was restored to be used as a tourist attraction in the 1980s. A train ride back then would only cost $3 round trip. The train climbs roughly 640 feet and uses 3 miles of track. The next morning, we drove just west of Fort Collins to Horsetooth Reservoir for some hiking. The reservoir runs approximately 6.5 miles in length and was constructed in 1949. After taking in the views, we started towards our next destination, Rocky Mountain National Park. On our way, we drove past a scene that we simply could not pass up: waterfalls. We made it to the best stop yet, Rainbow Curve Outlook, which sits at an elevation of 10,829 feet. The reason the stop was my favorite is clearly due to the wildlife and breathtaking views. After leaving the national park, we drove to the Lumpy Ridge trailhead to hike to Gem Lake. This trek is 3.5 miles in length, and I would quickly realize it's the hardest trail we've done so far. With an elevation gain of just under 1,000 feet, you're practically climbing stairs the entire way. We took breaks along the way to admire the views of the mountains and wildlife, along with needing to catch our breath every so often. The morning of our flight, we drove into Denver early to grab a coffee and relax. We spotted scooters to rent, so we cruised around until we had to head to the airport. If you plan on traveling during the pandemic, please be sure to read up on the rules and regulations of your intended destination and plan accordingly. Thanks for watching.